Hey guys, welcome to another episode of El Jefe's Shop Shop. Today we're going to go through the top 10 tools for the home mechanic. So I'm going to show you which ones I really like and the brands, the exact part numbers. Make sure you guys don't buy the wrong tool and have to buy the right one later. So I've been there, I've bought the wrong tools, I've broken the wrong tools, and I've ended up with this stuff and I really like it, so I'd like to pass that information on to you guys. So starting off with number 10, we've got wire strippers and crimpers. So these are obviously two different tools, but I feel like they're in the same category. So these guys just do your Nava terminals, red, yellow, blue, and they're really good. Make sure you get a nice crimp on there. Obviously crimp terminals aren't for everyone and they're not for every application, but when you need to do something quick or you want to put a terminal on something, these are the way to go. And to get there, a set of auto wire strippers are amazing. So these things, grab the wire and strip it. You don't have to hold the wire at a certain pressure and pull. You can just squeeze the trigger and it's good to go. But these are number 10 on the list of tools you should buy. So number 9 on the list is this set of hose cutters. So these ones specifically are SP branded. They are a 42mm PVC pipe cutter. Now I use these for radiator hoses mainly. They're good for vacuum lines, all that sort of stuff. Any kind of rubber hose, they are excellent. But when I got these, I was like, these are really sharp. I wonder if they'd take your finger off. So I didn't take a finger off because I had a little more forethought than that. But I cut my mop handle in half. A wooden mop handle, straight through it. Not a single worry. These things are crazy strong. So you just open them up, take the latch off, pull the handles apart. This blade springs open and then you can ratchet them closed. And I'm pretty sure they would take your finger off. These are excellent. So tool number 8 on this list, I'm not going to hold it because I will drop it and there'll be bits everywhere. So it's an all-in-one socket set. So it's a 1/2 inch SIG chrome set that I've got. It goes from 8 to 19mm in 1/2 inch, and then it goes from like 3 or 4mm to 10mm in 1/4 inch. It's all contained in one box, and it's also got spanners from 8 to 19mm and the imperial equivalent of both the sockets and the spanners. So excellent buy, one of my very first sets of spanners and sockets, and I've had it ever since. I've probably had it for 15 years and it's just been excellent. The ratchet is on its way out because I abused it in the early days and used it as a breaker bar and hit it with a hammer and all that sort of stuff. So I do need to replace the ratchet, but other than that, the set has given me no issues. It is absolutely excellent. So I can't mention this set without mentioning the 3/8 set. So I, for a long time, didn't have a 3/8 set. I only had a 1/4 and a 1/2. And it turns out that 3/8 is really handy. It does have its place. Sometimes 1/4 is too small, you can't get enough leverage. Sometimes 1/2 inch is too big and you can't get it in the right spot. So 3/8 really is handy. I did buy a second set, but if you can find an all contained with all 3 sizes, that'd be even better. It'd probably be a pretty big socket set in the end, but it would be well worth the money. Coming up at number 7 on the list is a multimeter. So this blue one I've had for probably 10 years. I lost it for probably 3 or 4 years in the middle there, but it did do pretty much everything I wanted. It is a Repco branded one. It was probably about $10 to $20. Then this red one is a Ting Tools brand. I think it was $40 or $50. It was a bit more expensive, but both of them do exactly what I need them to. So continuity test is probably the best thing ever, which is just when you put the 2 poles together, it makes a small beep. That just tells you if something's connected. So if you're trying to trace a wire, you can go to one end, plug it in, go to the other end, plug it in. If it beeps, they're connected. If it doesn't beep, they're not connected. And obviously your voltage, ohms, all that sort of stuff, resistance, super handy regardless how much electrical stuff you do. This will save your bacon. And it will stop you from melting fuses, melting wires, breaking stuff. Ask me how I know. I've done a lot of electrical stuff over the years, and multimeter should be the first thing you grab. Sometimes it isn't. Number 6 on the list is this big boy. So this is a 3/4 Milwaukee Rattle Gun. This thing is good for up to 2400 Newton meters apparently. I bought the biggest one I could that didn't need a handle. So the next one up from this has a big handle on top to help you steady yourself. So I never really use power tools all that much, but this thing is great because when you need it, it will undo pretty much anything. I won't say everything because I have had a few failures in the past, but this thing is just an absolute beast. When you're in a position that you need to pick up a rattle gun, you want a big one. Like, if you want to be lazy, get a little impact, that's fine. But if you want to undo something or break something, this guy is the way to go. So I'm really happy with this, and it has nearly always gotten me out of trouble. Number 5 on the list is a good Trolley Jack. So mine is a Summit copy of a Blue Point. So this thing would have been probably $800 if it was a genuine one, but because it is the Summit brand, it was only about $300. Mine's good for a ton, but the main thing to look for when you're buying a nice Trolley Jack is to have the nice extension between the front and where it kicks up for the jack. Is quite a long distance, and it's just super handy to get right underneath the front of the car. With this small profile jack, I think it's about 65mm from the ground to the top of the jack when it's all the way down. You can get under nearly every car, and it's super, super handy. Sometimes you do need a regular jack that can lift 2 or 3 ton, and you don't need that low profile clearance. If you have to buy one and you don't have a full drive or something like that, get a 1 ton low profile jack. They are really good, and they will save you a lot of stuffing around with blocks of wood or cone bases or blocks of whatever to get your car up out of the weeds so you can actually get the jack underneath there. Forget all of that, just buy a low profile jack. So number 4 on the list is probably the cheapest tool I'll talk about today. So this thing is just 3D printed and it fits on a Milwaukee battery. So you get a little M12 Milwaukee battery here, just pushes in the bottom, clips in nicely, and then you've got a nice little test circuit. So you can run this up to anything that has 12 volts or needs 12 volts and test if it works. So we use this on cars for a fuel pump. If there's a dead fuel pump and you want to just test, get our old fuel pump, get this guy, chuck it in the back and run 12 volt to it. See if it actually works. Or if you want to run some lights, or if you want to test some central locking, or you want to test anything really, anything that's 12 volts. This thing is absolutely detrimental to actually getting some stuff done around here. Super handy, super basic. And if you don't want to buy one of those, you can always label the top of your batteries like this and just put some spade terminals in the top. A little sketchy, a little less sketchy, still like 20 bucks, well worth it. So number 3 on this list is a good step drill. So originally when I heard about step drills, I bought a cheap set for about 20 bucks for 3, and they sucked. So I always wondered why people were so adamant about step drills being the best thing ever. Buy yourself some good ones. This set of 3 was probably about 100, 150 bucks. They are excellent. I always pre-drill my holes because if you don't, these things will go blunt very quickly. But if you pre-drill them and you use these carefully, they will last a while and they are excellent. You don't really need another drill bit. I mean, obviously there's different applications for using an actual drill bit, but these things in small plate steel and stuff like that, absolutely excellent. Saves you changing drill bits like 10 times to get to a 28mm or a 30mm. Really good. Number 2 is this King Chrome screwdriver set. So this guy is JIS, which is Japanese standard, and they actually fit screws on cars. So I do a lot of stuff with Japanese cars, obviously, a lot of Toyotas. Now, a Phillips head screwdriver and a JIS screwdriver are actually different. They look exactly the same, but the tip has a very small difference on them. I'll put a diagram of what I'm talking about on the screen, but JIS screwdrivers specifically are excellent. How many times have you rounded off a bolt and wished that the screwdriver just fit better? It didn't seem to fit right, and you ruined the screw, and now you're 2 hours deep trying to get that thing out of here. These are excellent. Now this set specifically has both flat head and Phillips head, JIS, and they are all hex shafted, so you can put a spanner on them and get a bit more torque on them as well, which I also recommend getting. This box is kind of bulky and a little bit annoying, but I like to try and keep things in the set. Once this plastic gives out, which it's trying to, I will put all of these in a small container and hopefully take up less room. But these are great, and JIS, look into it because they will stop a lot of frustration. Trust me. And finally, number 1 on the list. Flat spanners. Box spanners, I don't know what people call them. I call them flat spanners. These ones are SP branded. They are absolutely excellent. They are straight, they're not bent like a regular spanner. So like this one in my hand, you can see the top is off on an angle. And on your right hand side here, this one is dead straight. It doesn't take much to not be able to fit this kind of spanner in because it's got that bend. So a dead straight one is super handy. These ones specifically are a lot longer, so you can get a lot of leverage on them. And they're just a really good fit on the bolt. They are excellent. These are probably about $150 for the set, but these are probably my favorite tool, and that's why they're at number 1. So mine came in a set of 6, everything from 8mm to 24mm. Each end is a different size, so everything from 8 to 24mm. Of course, you're going to need your regular spanners for your open enders, and sometimes you can get away with that small bend, but when you can't, box spanners are a lifesaver. So buying tools is always everyone's favorite job to do. It's a nice way to spend some money. So don't rush out there. Think about what you want to buy first. Make sure you get the right thing and only spend once. There's nothing worse than buying the same thing twice because the first one broke. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week. So if you're wondering why my beard's been doing some weird things in this video, it's been a year since I had a stroke. I grew a beard from the day I got home from hospital until today, which is about a year and a week after I got home from hospital. So no signs of another stroke. So I've been quite healthy and a lot fitter than I was before. The medication that I'm on now is obviously the correct medication, and there's hopefully not going to be a repeat of last year's events. So no more beard. See you next week.